ShinRobjira.
Today we're going to be talking about the Playmates Toho series Shin Godzilla V2 figure, and well, it's a thing. First up, let's take a look at this box. We've got Playmates, we've got Toho series, we've got Heisei Godzilla firing his atomic heat ray onto a city. Godzilla 2016. His name is Shin Godzilla. Come on now. On the side, Godzilla 2016. Repeat. On the opposite side, Toho series Godzilla. And then on the back of the box, what? Why does this look better? Why? Playmates. Why? I'm pretty sure the exact same thing happened with the other Shin Godzilla figure that Playmates released. We'll get to it. And, yeah, just extra strength Y all the time. Here he is, the infected scab of a Godzilla, and yeah, you can already tell that there's going to be some differences from the promo shots to what we have in hand. Now, I'm not going to turn this into a 30+ minute long video where I argue with myself over the quality of this figure, so I'm just going to state it right now. It's better than the original, but it still fucking sucks. Up first, let's take a look at the brand new head, which, yes, is much better. He's got that goofy little googly eye, his skin's all bumpy and textured. The teeth, while not great, are indeed much better, and he's got some Nosferatu fangs up there. I want to say this eye over here is a little bit further down than it needs to be, but the more that I look at it, maybe it's not. And then we have the other side of the head with more teeth, more wrinkles, more bumps, the whole ishkabibble. Moving on to the neck and chest over here, we've got some what looks like dry brushed red paint on his neck over here. It's really only on the front-ish. No, they got some over there. His gills are somewhat visible over here. They really don't carry over too much into the head. On the other side, again, I guess you could consider those gills. We got a little bit on the side of the head over here. This thing is just a yogurty kind of figure. Like, the details are there, but they could really stand to be there. Now, looking at the chest, yeah. It's really sad to think that the original figure kind of caught the vibe a bit better. It's like, yes, this is 1,000 times more visible than the original, but it's somewhat just haphazardly thrown on there. Some of them don't even match where they are on the figure. Meanwhile, this steaming pile of poo-poo caca, I mean, there's a lot less of it, but I would argue that it looks a lot better, even with a lot less of it. I will give Playmates this, though. The new arms are definitely much better than the originals. Then again, this figure not being a haphazard remolding of the NECA Shin Godzilla definitely helps it out a tick. But I don't know, they're nice and spindly, the hands are all interlocked in that weird Shin Godzilla thing that he does. And if you bring this arm up all the way, it kind of looks like he's scratching his gills, like he's got something stuck in there. The details, while minimal, are pretty nice, where they actually are, and it's nice to see that Shin Godzilla's got some muscly looking details on these new arms. Again, much better than the original. Moving on down to the lower side of the figure, no paint on the sides over here, that much is the same. But then we have this glob of red paint on the thigh, and it's not good, but it's better than that, I guess, yeah? And it looks like they attempted to follow the lines on the thighs over here. I kind of wish they went all out with it so it actually looked like something, but lather, rinse, repeat for the other side. Details are okay. The feet are okay. The secondary toes aren't all present. They've got the overall shape down, and we do get one of the extra toes on the side of the feet, just not on top of them. And overall, I guess I could say the details look just fine. Now for these dorsal fins. I think these are the only things brought over from the original release. They very much look like NECA's dorsal fins. And the details are just fine, it's just why are the dorsal fins all red? They're really only supposed to be red at the center and roots, yet these are just all red. Shin Godzilla's back is mostly going to be all black, and I guess this is just another case of lather, rinse, repeat. We've got good details on here, just very middling paint. Not even middling at this point. And now moving on to the tail, we've got some murky reds up on top of the base of the tail with The 3 red lines painted on both sides. Looks like they missed one. I don't know if that was intentional or if it's like that on everybody's copy, but here it is on mine. Oh yeah, it's like that on the other side too. Probably intentional. Moving on to the rest of the tail. Yeah. Oh, okay. There's the tip of the tail. No discernible features whatsoever. It looks... yeah. The inside of the bottom jaw is all red, but in the way that it's done, it almost looks like they gave him a tongue, which Shin Godzilla does not have. And unlike the promo shot, the very top of his mouth over here, the roof of his mouth, is not going to be red. It's just going to be black, which, yeah, expected. Now again, this is much better than the original. That's not saying much, though. It really isn't. So, paint is gonna get an X, because... this is bad. I have no idea how they released this guy and Godzilla Terrestris pretty much together. How? Detail-wise, I'll be a bit more lenient. I'll give him a half a star. Yeah, I mean, the dorsal fins are the best looking things on this figure, even though they're painted up like bloody beetroots. Now, I guess we can get into articulation. Now, you'd think you'd be able to move the head, just, you know, with how it looks and such, but Lord help me, I can't get it to budge, and even the... oh, never mind. The head does move, and it finally matches the rest of the figure. Okay, I was a little terrified there, I really was, because it was stuck like that from the time that I got it. Okay, I like this figure a little more now. The arms can go all the way around, and you don't have to worry about scraping any paint off of his nails because he ain't got any. Opposite arm, all the way around. Unlike the original, the legs can go all the way around. Other leg, all the way around. We will get swivels at the ankles. On both sides, yes. Nothing at the base of the tail, despite the seam. And we're gonna get a ball joint at the midsection over here. Up that far, down that far, side to side, full rotation, nothing at the midpoint as far as I can get, and obviously nothing at the tip. I'm gonna give Articulation a solid star. He suffers from the normal Playmates-isms, but this guy's a little bit worse than usual because, check this out. You want to display this guy with his tail down? Ah, shit.
Go to bed.
He falls! You saw it right before your very eyes. In all seriousness, though, this guy can be a little on the unstable side. There's more than a few times where I've posed the arms or even the legs to a certain extent, and he's just kind of fallen over. Of course, now that I'm trying to do it or whatever, it's just not working. Maybe I just had the legs in a weird way or such, but alright, I'll retract my statement. He's fine. He's stable. He might fall over some of the time, but at least you know for the most part, he'll be stable. Now let's compare him to the original Playmates Shin Godzilla. Yeah, there is absolutely zero questioning that the new version is much better than the original. The new version looks like Playmates actually put in an attempt, is much less of a shelf hog, which I do appreciate, and even though he is still very much clearly borrowing off from the NECA remold in terms of the dorsal fins, I do very much think an improvement was made, but I feel the improvement could have been much better. Again, I'm just amazed that Godzilla Terrestris was revealed and released alongside this thing. Granted, he ain't perfect neither, but the paint on this guy actually feels much more wholly realized than this. And I know this is going to come off as a bit of a hot take, but when it comes to the paint, I feel there are parts of the original release that just kinda do it better. It's still bad, but it's a bit better. Like these red lines. Why is there only 3? But why do they look so much better than this? I honestly prefer the outline of the dorsal fins on the back over the blood red dorsal fins that look like they didn't even try. I know Playmates really had to go off and do their own thing with Shin Godzilla, but the tip of this tail is pretty bland. And while this technically isn't Playmates' very own homegrown work, the way it is painted, even though it's slightly overpainted, still looks a bajillion times better than this, where I don't know, it kinda really doesn't highlight anything. Okay, it highlights some things, but why couldn't it have been bright like that? Why'd it gotta be all dull and shit? I would even say that I prefer the paint applications on the base of V1 Shin Godzilla's tail versus this tomato bisque. It's a strange, strange world that we live in, but we have to live in it, I guess. Now let's take a look at some size comparisons. So in being a sequel to one of Playmates' absolutely worst Wave 1 releases, I would definitely say an improvement was made, but not by much. I absolutely do appreciate the new head, the new tail, the new everything, but I really wish Playmates kind of put in a little bit more of an effort. Granted, I really shouldn't have been expecting much. Yes, the figure looks so much better, but even for the age this is intended for, this is pretty mid. I mean, the all-red dorsal fins, the globbed-on red paint. The fact that the original version does some things better than this should be all I need to say. While it's clear that this is the better figure, I guess I just wish it was better. Well, that's enough out of me. I have been ShinRobjira. Thank you all so much for watching. It could have been a lot worse, I think. But seeing as how Terrestrius was handled and then some, I kind of wish they went with something a little bit more of the quality like this guy than what we actually got. And this might have just been a fluke for all I know. But no use crying over could-have-beens and what-ifs. And when next we meet, we'll finally be getting into the Millennium era of the Necathon Marathon. I believe the next 2 episodes are GMK and SOS Goji, or is he just Kiryu Goji too? I don't know. Have yourselves a lovely day, afternoon, night, weekday, weekend, and yeah. Better. But that ain't saying too much. Peace.